Let's talk about a true comedic original, a guy who wasn't just a stand-up comedian, but more like a philosopher of the mundane. Today, we're diving into the brilliant, kind of bizarre, and absolutely unforgettable mind of Mitch Hedberg. So, to really get what he was all about, let me start by asking you a question he once posed. It's simple. What happens when an escalator breaks? Seriously, just think about it for a second. And there it is. That's the punchline. While the rest of us see a broken machine, an inconvenience, he saw the only possible outcome. And that's the absolute core of his genius, finding the weird, undeniable logic in things we don't even bother to think about. All right, so here's how we're going to unpack his comedic brilliance. We'll start with his signature move, the one-liner. Then we'll get into his amazing powers of observation, the absurd logic he applied to everything, that unforgettable onstage persona, and finally, why his jokes are just as funny now as they were then. Okay, first things first, the one-liner. This was Mitch's main tool, his weapon of choice. But his jokes weren't just set up, punchline, done. Nah, they were like these tiny, perfectly constructed thoughts that just happened to be hilarious. So what exactly makes a Hedberg one-liner so special? Well, it's this killer combo of noticing something tiny, applying some really strange, almost alien logic to it, and then delivering it so deadpan that it feels like you're just eavesdropping on his thoughts. And that whole style really comes from one place, his incredible eye for detail. I mean, every great joke he told started right there. He was an absolute master at spotting the little, ridiculous things in life that most of us just walk right past. Take this one. It's a classic. We all get receipts, right? We barely look at them. But Mitch, he stops and actually thinks about it. Why would I ever need to prove I bought a donut? He takes a totally normal, everyday thing and just holds it up to the light to show you how absurd it really is. And he does the same thing here. He just cuts right through all the marketing nonsense. Ritz crackers aren't a platform for your fancy cheese bread. They're crackers. That's it. It's this simple, almost childlike honesty that makes his observations so funny and, honestly, so refreshing. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. He would take these observations and then run them through his own personal logic filter. And the results were, well, they were totally bizarre. But in their own weird way, they made complete sense. You see what he did there? He didn't just point out that the emergency brake didn't work. No, he redefined it based on his actual experience. It failed at its job, so he just gave it a new, more accurate one. The emergency make the car smell funny lever. You can't even argue with that logic. And his logic could be incredibly sharp, too. Here, he takes two things that are both officially called diseases and just holds them up next to each other. By doing that, he instantly points out a huge cultural double standard, and he does it with just one perfectly crafted joke. This is Hedberg logic at its absolute peak. He takes a simple business policy and just follows it all the way to its most logical, ridiculous conclusion. If Pizza Hut takes all coupons, then his coupon for unlimited free pizza has to be valid, right? The reasoning is flawless, even if the premise is totally nuts. Of course, none of this, the weird observations, the absurd logic, would work without the man himself. His whole onstage persona was completely tied to the material. You know, the sunglasses, the kind of wandering delivery, the mumbling. You just can't separate the two. This joke right here tells you so much about him. He was a purist. He was a stand-up comedian, and that's what he wanted to be. He didn't see it as a stepping stone. And that analogy, the cook and the farmer, it's such a powerful way to explain the frustration of being a specialist and having people just not get it. So these were the key ingredients, right? You had the one-liners, the deadpan delivery, and that really unique timing with all the pauses and self-corrections. It all came together to create this style that felt totally off the cuff. But really, to get it, you just have to go listen to him. Find his albums online. It's the only way. So, why are we still talking about Mitch Hedberg all these years later? Why are his jokes still everywhere? I think it's because he did more than just tell jokes. He literally gave us a whole new way to look at the world around us. You know, his comedy lasts because it's not about pop culture or politics. It's about donuts and crackers and escalators, stuff that's always going to be part of our lives. He totally mastered his little corner of the comedy world. And in doing so, he kind of gave us all permission to find the humor in our own everyday routines. I mean, seriously, how can you ever look at a turtleneck the same way after hearing that? It's such a perfect, vivid image that you instantly get it and you never forget it. That's the Hedberg magic right there. And that's really his legacy. He left us with this invitation to be a little more observant, to question the things that don't quite make sense, and to find the humor that's hiding everywhere. So next time you see something just a little bit off, smile and think of Mitch. What everyday absurdity are you going to spot today?